Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this conversation about your Kundalini awakening experiences. My name is Chrism, and I will be one of your hosts today. Within this conversation, one of the conversation points that are coming up for me with this is what I'm going to start with. There is a great divide within society, as we know society to be, and most of them are very similar. The Austrian society is similar to the German society. The German society is similar to the Spanish society. Spanish society is similar to the Italian or the Spanish or the Icelandic or the South African or the Australian or the United States or many of the technological societies of the Western civilization. They have very similar understandings about life and what is appropriate and what isn't appropriate to express within societal expectations. Kundalini doesn't care about any of that. She doesn't care about what your society says is good or bad, appropriate, inappropriate, honest, dishonest. She doesn't care about what your society is saying is fearful, is real, is unreal. Kundalini doesn't care about these levels of egotism. And these are levels of egotism. To have the expectation of being treated a certain way is a level of egotism. To have the attachment to your perception of safety is an egotism. There are so many levels of egotism that are imbued within society that it's literally a massive tapestry that is at one time it's a way of perception, but it's also a way of deception. Deception. D as in Deborah. Okay, it's a way of deceiving yourself into thinking that this is how life is, and this is how life is supposed to be, and therefore this is what you base your actual engagement of life upon. This tapestry of ego that is at once something that you see, something you believe, and something that binds you at the same time. Kundalini doesn't care about this. She steps right over it. Pushes you into areas of activity and understanding that are beyond the pale of what society considers acceptable. And she does it in almost every area of the body. The mental, she'll cause you to think of concepts and creations and philosophies that totally supersede anything that current contemporary society finds acceptable. In our society right now, here in this century, this new century, 2018, science is still pushing very, very hard to maintain its dominancy in a physical way of being. That's like A plus B equals C, because we're scientists and we say it's so. And you've got that computer that you're working on right now, that you're having this blog talk conversation with right now. That computer is a scientific instrument using scientific principles of engineering You don't have to have faith that it's going to work. It just works because it's scientifically proven to work. And because it is scientifically proven to work, and all the other technology around you is scientifically proven to work, therefore, science is the dominant paradigm to live your life with and around. Okay, the egotistic infusion of the mental mind, the competition of what is a dominant paradigm and what isn't a dominant paradigm. And she will cause you in your mental manifestation to reach beyond science, to reach beyond what is considered acceptable, to reach into the areas of the ridiculous, to reach into areas that expose a person to ridicule, because currently, contemporarily, that is not the accepted realm of mental understandings. She'll do the same thing with the emotional body. She'll make you feel love for something or someone that you shouldn't feel love for. She'll make you feel about yourself in a way that totally contradicts how you've been raised. She'll make you love yourself when you've been raised to hate yourself. Okay? And you're thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, of course it doesn't make any sense, but she'll make you love yourself when maybe you've committed some atrocity. Maybe you've been raised to hate yourself by parents who also hated themselves. Maybe you've been raised to hate a part of yourself because that part of yourself has been perceived to be dirty or inappropriate, like the genitals. You know, how does your society perceive the genitals? Well, they must always be covered up. You have got to hide that part of your body. Oh my God, if you do not hide that part of your body, you're going to be arrested, thrown in jail, probably thrown in a psych ward if you live here in the States. And you'll be termed some sort of a sexual deviant. Yes, a sexual deviant because your genitals were exposed in some way. I'm not saying that if we're talking about a man, that the man has an erection and, you know, he's doing the raincoat thing on, on women pushing strollers. Okay. The Shakti will step over all these boundaries. She doesn't care about the egregore of your society considers to be important. She'll push you into these areas, and you must not resist it. You must not resist it. It is essential that you not be constrained by the appreciation of your egotistic society. That's a cage. That's a cage that the ego creates, as I was mentioning before, the tapestry that binds you. The tapestry binds you. Okay. It's very important for you to understand that we work very hard to form judgments over the emotional and mental disposition of our bodies and our body parts and how they are to be used or not used. You know, such as the walking around natural as God made you, just like Inara here sitting on the couch, the German Shepherd, and Ishta sitting on the green chair over here, a Siberian Husky. They're not wearing a lot of clothes. It's just not. And somehow, within the kingdom and the queendom of dogdom, they are totally acceptable without wearing any clothing. And eating the defecation of other animals like ducks and geese, which is always a fascination, I guess, for them. But people do it too. You know, they eat the fecal matter of other creatures too. So it's not as indecent as you might think. You know, just look at the ducks that are overfed so that people can feed on their liver. You look at the monkeys that are fed certain types of coffee beans so that when they defecate the coffee beans, the humans come along and pick up that defecation and take those coffee beans out and make coffee out of them. Yum. So Kundalini doesn't allow a person, really. She's gentle about it, but she exposes people to the yearning and the drive to be comfortable with ideologies, philosophies, programs that stretch the boundaries of societal acceptance 24/7, all the time, ladies and gentlemen, all the time. And you know, the real education here with this is that Kundalini is teaching you not to honor egotism, not to allow yourself to be programmed not only by your own ego, but by the ego of other people as well, the society that you live in. When a guy like Chrism counsels, well, okay, let's see, who am I going to pick on here? Okay, Rosemary, I want you to go naked in nature in the middle of a snowstorm, and I want you to lay down on your back in the snowstorm and make snow angels. Which she has not done. Very disobedient in that area. When I give that kind of a command to somebody in the Kundalini, and actually, you know, somebody that is radiating the heat of Kundalini, I'm not endangering them. You know, they are staying perfectly warm and comfortable, and it's not a health issue. But they're naked and they're outside. And Chrism has automatically become I just had somebody call me lately a fucking, what is it? Some sort of a pervert, because I'm having people go naked in nature, natural in nature. And this is true. I admit 100%. And I also admit 100% to pushing people beyond their egotistic confinement. Pushing people beyond what is deemed appropriate by the egregore of their society. I do this all the time. It's one of my main functions, because in order to receive specific levels of Kundalini information, you must push yourself beyond the parameters of ego acceptability. You must push yourself beyond the parameters of ego accessibility and acceptability in order to receive more. You must thrust the chalice that you are, the cup that you are, through the wall of taboo, societal taboo, personal taboo, because a lot of the time, most of the time, we accept societal limitation as part of our own personal ethos of appropriate behaviors within society. And you must push yourself beyond that appropriate behavior. I'm not saying that you make yourself a danger to society. I'm not saying that you run naked down the street and start masturbating in front of the grocery store. Not at all. None of that stuff. Okay. I am saying that you push yourself beyond the realms of acceptability, but do it in your own private house. Do it. You're not trying to proselytize Kundalini and its ability to push through appropriate egocentric societal behavior on other people. We're not trying to proselytize that. We're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for the ability to receive more instruction from the Kundalini. And this is huge. This is a huge deal. Okay. This is forcing you to look at your judgments and how you come to your judgments. It's forcing you to look at your fears and how you're controlled by your fears of having someone see your genitals or having a correspondent communication with the wheat in a field or the trees in a forest or the ocean. The natural nature, the goddess, the Shakti. This is forcing you to go beyond how you think other people are going to feel about you. If they see you doing things with a teacher or just, with yourself in society, how are people going to think about it? Oh my God, what are people going to say? What are they see me working with this pervert, calling himself a master, and he doesn't even have documentation calling himself a master. He just made that up out in here. There is a master certificate on his wall, I'll tell you what. And they're absolutely true. There is no master certification. There's no board of certification for it. This is a big deal. This is a big topic. You must begin to accept where she's pushing you and why she's pushing you there. You must begin to accept the natural abilities that are turned into civic skills, like levitation or telepathy or psychometry or any of the natural civic skills that come to you from the Kundalini. Well, at the same time, you need to accept the changes in your idolatry with egotistic society. You need to accept those changes. You cannot worship the ego anymore. You must explore the ego and begin to make changes in the egotistic structure of how you think, how you feel, how you survive, how you compete, how you love, how you accept, how flexible you are, what are your expectations, and what are the illusions that those expectations are based upon. You've got to go into these areas, and it's not something that you do all in one night. By hearing this, ladies and gentlemen, just by listening to these words right now, you're giving your Kundalini permission to really begin to isolate yourself within the understandings of why I do what I do. This would be you talking to yourself in the mirror, looking at yourself and going, why do I do what I do? And how much of that is totally controlled by the ego? See what I'm saying? Why do I hide my genitals from being natural? Why do I have expectation of safety within the covering of my body? It can't just be a clothing, because people are wearing clothing in the hottest environment. So it's not clothes. It's not the temperature. It's not the temperature. What else is it? People will say, well, you prefer not to see that part. I can understand that too. Yeah. But that's still part of the programming too. There is no part of the body that is not a beautiful creation of the divine. No part. It's what we have allowed our perceptions to be. I'm going to move into a more delicate area here, something that really scrapes hard at the ego. I had a student, talk to me today about, she basically says, well, why, I read these terrible things about you online, and I just, God, I'm looking at that, and then I looked at other spiritual masters who also have done these things, you're being accused of sexual this and sexual that and manipulation and throwing a hex or some sort of psychic programming on people to have them cave in to your will. And then she looked at online and looked at some of the names that are also associated with that type of behavior. Yogananda has had this accused of him. Osho or Sri Bhagwan Rajneesh, the other name that he used, had this said about him. Muktananda had this said about him. And I think you could go back through the centuries. Everybody, not everybody, but a large percentage of great spiritual teachers would have had this said about them, this accusation of inappropriate behavior with the people that they're teaching. And why is that? Why does Kundalini allow that to occur? I hope I'm not talking to the air here. Oh, thank you, Santara. Santara always comes to the rescue here. It's just like, I'm over here in the chat room, and I'm looking at Santara here. Welcome, everyone. Andrew, not here yet, so will you let us know if the sound is okay? And Andrew, thank you. And thank you, Santara, for asking the question. And Tim is there, and we got quite a few people. I see Bo, Atlanta Seeker, Emma, and a few guests, and Tejasri from Brazil. Oh, good to see you here, hon. So this is a very important program. This program is really looking at what our expectations of appropriate behavior is, and why would it be okay for Yogananda to have sex with a student or to have sexual types of experiences with a student? Why would that be okay? I'm going to go ahead and put that to the chat room right now. All the people, the wonderful people in the chat room. Why would that be okay for Osho, Yogananda, Muktananda, and all these spiritual teachers that we know for a fact have the Kundalini? Why would that be okay? And I'm going to go ahead and read some of your responses when you make them on the air here. And I'm going to add to it myself. It would be okay because the Kundalini, first of all, deems it to be okay. I mean, let me tell you something. The Kundalini can take the lead right out of the pencil. She takes the lead right out of the pencil, and there's nothing else to write with after that. Okay. The Kundalini can also cause the student, beyond their egotistic expectations of what is appropriate behavior, she can change their mind in that moment and make them want to become merged with this spiritual teacher. She can make them think and feel a need to have that fluidic or physical merging with the spiritual teacher. And that is perfectly reasonable. That is a perfectly reasonable equation within the Kundalini, because she doesn't care about Victorian or Edwardian or Tsarian standards of conduct. She's not concerned that the village of humanity will accept these behaviors. Really isn't. She's not concerned because most of humanity is not having the Kundalini. Therefore, most of societal programming is not geared towards the people that are having the Kundalini. And most people would run screaming with their hands waving over their head away from anything that would even closely resemble Kundalini. Except for the gifts, the traumas that can be experienced with the Kundalini can be really strong, especially when you're tied so deeply to the egotistic behaviorisms. Kundalini will often want that merge to occur, often, because of the power of those specific fluidic expressions. She will want that to occur. Not to say that it occurs all the time. It's actually, not very common. But it is, it's made to appear common on the web because, people, complain a lot about it. And most of the complaints, if you look at the complaints about Yogananda, Osho, Chrism, whoever, these are all egotistic complaints of victimization. I can tell you for a fact that the people that complain about me, most of them I've never met. Seriously never met. Now, I don't know how that could occur with someone you've never met, except maybe they're using a fake ID, which is just another form of lying. Just as you're hearing this from my voice right now, the quality of the sound is going into your ears and through that into your fifth chakra, and it's disseminating itself throughout your body. The Kundalini is. The Kundalini also wants, for specific reasons, the person to be touched, to have the Shaktipat given through touch and given through merging and given through all the different venues that the five senses create for that merging to occur. And there are specific Siddhic skills that are attached to these specific levels of merging. I'm going to go over here to the chat room. Anybody there? I got one comment. I never heard that about Yogananda. Well, it's out there, Atlantis Seeker. It's out. You just got to look it up. Maybe just Google sex with Yogananda or something like that. It's out there, and I think Ramakrishna had this said about him, and it's this ideology, this egotistic ideology that we have surrounding sex, surrounding quote unquote inappropriate touching or inappropriate merging that we have based quite a bit on the old British Victorian standards of conduct. These are direct blockages to Kundalini. If you can read a book, there's a book out there that I'll give a plug to. It was written a long time ago by a lady. I forget her name, but the book title is called 2150. 2150. Talks about a society that isn't as burdened with egotistic discrimination and egotistic blockage as our current society is. So read that book, 2150. It's a great book. It's a good book. It's a good read too. So we need to talk about some of these things. But, I've been dodging the subject for a long, long time because I know it makes people uncomfortable. And I would like to say my apologies if this is making you at all uncomfortable. Stop listening. Stop listening to the program. Just go back into your ego tapestry of comfort and safety, and you won't have to deal with these issues until maybe you do. When your Kundalini says, "Oh, okay, it's time to deal with this issue." This is a big deal because this throws people off of their path. It throws them off of their path because, oh my God, Guru has these things said about them on the web. I'm so not going there. Oh my God, I'm so not going there. I'm so not going to listen to him. And so they lose this tremendous opportunity simply based upon negative programming from a societal level that is destructive. It's a poisoning of the natural avenues that Kundalini has created within the physiology and the neurobiology and the emotional environment of the individual having the Kundalini. They have to go through these terrible, terrible paroxysms of pain and rejection and resistance because of the societal programming that they've been fed and that has been nourished within them by their own parents, has been fed to them because they went against what society considers to be important. The self-hatred is given into them. And so they self-punish. And they become very, very restrictive in their emotional acceptance within themselves. They want to hide their physiology. They want to hide their emotions. They create a blockage by just sweeping it under the emotional rug and buying a whole new rug and putting it over the dirty rug. The dirty rug. I want to go there. Okay. We just, society's just created this huge blockage in a person's Kundalini equation that they're going to have to go back. They're going to have to rip up the carpet, look at the black mold of the old carpet that was there festering away, making their body into a toxic cesspool of ego-based self-recrimination. All because society has deemed certain behaviors inappropriate. These are not harmful behaviors. These are honest, natural behaviors. Think of the stallion and the mares. Think of the flocks of birds. Think of nature. Think of how a bee pollinates so many different flowers. I mean, sometimes in nature, pollination requires diversity, especially if it's something that is of a level of rarity within the plant populations. And so, there's that. And then there's the whole idea of being a victim. Kundalini can compel. I get this a lot. Kundalini will compel someone to work with me. It'll come to them in a dream and say, "Oh, you must work with that old guy with a beard, and you've got to give yourself to him. You've got to take his teachings seriously, and to walk the talk of the teachings. You must do everything that this man, this human man, gives for you to do, no matter what it is, and for the rest of your life." That's about as anti-societal as you can get. That is about as anti-ego as you can get. And Nara's looking at me right now going, really? This is the German Shepherd. Sounds like what I have to do. I have to walk every time he wants me to walk. Of course she wants to walk. She's ready to walk right now. Hi, sweetheart. I understand. Yeah, I said that magic word. So the Kundalini will pull people towards me for her own reasons and for her own fulfillment of herself within them. Because I am given to the Kundalini too, ladies and gentlemen. Everything that I am suggesting that a person must do, I have done. You've got to understand that. I'm not just pulling this stuff out of the air. I have done this. The big difference is I didn't have a physical person to do that with. I did, but they didn't have Kundalini, and they didn't know that they were being used as teachers for me. They had no clue. They had no idea. I'm going to go over to the chat room here and see if anybody's responded to that yet. Okay, so Kartoffelgen says, fear of the unknown is surely part of the reason. Absolutely correct, Kartoffelgen. Boy, can you get a harder name in there, please? No, really. Try to get a more difficult name. I appreciate it. Kartoffelgen. Yeah, fear of the unknown. What society sees as safe and secure, Kundalini is going to push you into areas of society that is not acceptable, and therefore it produces fear within the individual. She will do this to you. She will do this in all the different ways she can. Entities, I cannot think of a greater violation, say from an egotistical standpoint, than an entity coming into your consciousness and beginning to dominate the airwaves, so to speak, of consciousness. I cannot think of anything more intimately corrupting than that. That is like a rape of the mind that goes on 24/7. 24/7. Now, it doesn't happen to all people. But it happens to some. And yet that's just like, oh, well, that's all right, I guess. I mean, the scientists are going, well, that's just your subconscious coming up and creating an environment of destabilization. And here we've got some Prozac for you. Takes care of everything. It's like duct tape, chemical duct tape. So just when in doubt, duck it, right? So Kundalini will do this. She will push you beyond your comfort zone. And I want you to say, thank you, Kundalini. I will suggest that you say, I give myself to you, my Kundalini, and accept the gift of yourself to Kundalini. Accept it as a fact, as a reality. And if that Kundalini leads you to a teacher that's going to push your buttons or push you beyond what you think that you could actually ever agree to, then you just let it go. You do it. You obey the Kundalini. She's not going to have you commit crimes. She's not going to have you steal. She's not going to have you rape anybody. She's not going to have you do, these murder people. She's not going to have you do that. But you will be compelled to go beyond societal norms for a time until that thread, that one particular thread within the ego tapestry that binds you is eliminated. And thread by thread by thread by thread is pulled away. And pretty soon, there is not as much of a tapestry of egotism that binds you to societal expectation or egotistic expectation. And it'll go from your physiology, which includes your sexuality. Is that a word, sexuality? I've made up a new word here, which includes your sexual behaviors, which includes your nutrition or your eating behaviors, which includes your the factors of your health, the factors of how you present yourself to other flesh human beings. It includes all of that, and it also goes straight into your mental mind, how you think about life, how you think about your environment, how you think about yourself, and that ties right in to your emotional body, how you feel about life, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about other people, how you feel about your ego, and which leads you right into the ego. What are you afraid of losing? What are you afraid of getting? What do you want? What do you have? How do you want to get what you want? How do you want to stay away from those things that frighten you? All of these types of things get right into the ego, which leads us right into the spiritual. Why would God send me to some crazy idiot like Chrism? Why would God do that? Oh my God, tell me, why would you give me to Chrism? He's like, oh my God, he wears plaid shirts, for crying out loud. Oh my God. I mean, it leads you right into your spirituality. Nothing wrong with plaid shirts. I'm just using that as an example. Okay. All right. Going over to the chat room here, seeing how people are taking this. Hi, Jan. Jan Kartoffeljan is actually just Jan. So thank you, Jan. Thank you. Wow, I see some of the people have left, but some of the people have stayed, and so that's nice to see. I expected some folks to leave, and people do not want to hear, and they don't need to hear perhaps at this time. But if you have the Kundalini, you're going to want to hear this, and you will need to hear this eventually. Let's just use, something as innocent as nutrition. In the Indian culture, you don't eat meat. No, meat. No, that's certainly not a cow. No, you can't eat a meat. Can't eat cows. Can't eat this. Can't eat that. But you can murder the plants to your heart's desire. Okay, you can murder this plant, murder that plant, murder all the plants, and that's perfectly good because vegetarianism is the cultural norm in India. Okay. So the Kundalini will take that cultural norm, that egotistical societal norm, and force them to be carnivores. And they'll resist, and they'll resist, and they'll resist, and they'll resist. And that's just tip of the iceberg of resistance. So India, with over 1 billion people there on that subcontinent, on the one hand, they can go really fast with the Kundalini because their ancestors really, really kept a pretty well-defined level of information about the Kundalini, and yet their current society doesn't allow them to obey the information. No. Yes, this is the divine Shiva. I have come to you, my children. I am embodied now, and I am standing here in front of you, and my beautiful wife, my beautiful partner in spiritual ecstasy, we come to you, and we tell you to eat the meat. And the people of India say, oh, no, it's not in our culture. Can't eat the meat. Sorry. See ya. All right? You see my point. That's the point I'm making, is if the Kundalini is leading you to a certain area, then you must go to that certain area. You must go there and obey the instruction. And it doesn't matter what body of expression that the Great Mother is giving you to work with, whether it's the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the ego body, or the spiritual body, or combinations of all those bodies. You must obey what she's telling you to do. And if that meat that you're being given to go to Yogananda and lay your body under his, then you must do that. And you must forget about the contemporary societal levels of acceptability. And you must form your own non-ego understandings of what is appropriate. Kundalini appropriateness. You must begin to start living your life by. And remember, Kundalini really is heavily formed through love, divine merging, divine knowledge, divine happiness, ecstasy, beauty. It's not like you're giving yourself to Satan, even though, there are some folks that would say, oh, well, you got a snake in your equation, therefore it must be satanic. Every man has a snake in his equation, and every man is not satanic. If you're just looking at it physiologically. Okay. All right, then. Now at this important juncture of the conversation, I'd like to introduce my co-host. She is the reason that this entire radio show exists, and she's probably looking at that right now going, oh my God, what has he said? Oh my God. It's like, no, don't mention my name. So I will go ahead and bring her online and let her mention her own name. Welcome, co-host.
Mind reader. I won't let anyone know my name today.
Well done.
Hi,
well
everyone. Tara here. Tara here. I'm delighted to be here. Whatever the topic is, Chrism, it's good to be here. And welcome to everybody in the chat room. There's a good crowd there today. Hello to all of you. Thanks to Speaker Andrew, Vashti, hi, Emma Bow, Michelle, Tim, everybody. You actually have a question there, Chrism, or a comment. Would you like to go over?
I'm looking at that. If the Kundalini commands people who are meant to be your student to follow you, could this slander about you on the internet nonetheless override that and prevent that? Or does that mean that they weren't really meant to be your student of that? If that happens, it can definitely override and prevent that, even though they were still meant to be my student. The giving into the egotistic fears and limitations that the ego provides for a person can just be too strong for them, and it's something they will need to work on, and she will give them other opportunities. how do I say it? I am not the only teacher that okay, I'm stuck here. I'm the only teacher I know that teaches what I teach. But there are other teachers that work on the ego. There are other teachers that work specifically on the ego. Some of the, what are they called? Centauri, help me here. The Islamic guys that spin around to the right all the time. What are they?
The spinning dervish.
The dervishes. No? Huh?
Yeah. Is it spinning dervish, or am I wrong?
No, they're the whirling dervishes, but there's another name for that entire belief system. I wonder what that. Help me out here, ladies and gentlemen, on the chat group here.
Guys,
yeah, they're a sacred sect of Islamic, but also of Christianity, and they have a lot of.
Oh, it starts with the letter S. Does it start with S? It does.
I think it does.
I just can't.
It's like the sushis or the. No, it's not the whirling dervish. Sufi, thank you. Jeez Louise. Thank you, Letta Seeger. Thank you, Bo, for the good try. That was a good try. The Sufis. The Sufis have a lot of do's and don'ts that are conducive to Kundalini understandings as far as egotistic control is concerned. And a lot of the different sacred religious orders like the Sufis, and some of the sacred Buddhists and the sacred Sanskriti people. You know how they get around this is at least the sexual aspect. They just say, "Oh, don't have sex at all. Give that to God." And we have seen how well that works with the Catholic priests, right? Give all that to God. It's like, well, let's see. If God is in everybody, then if this 10-year-old here, well, yeah, okay, I'm giving that to God. Sorry about that. Did I say that?
You did. But actually, talking about Christian and Christ, I mean, Christ stepped way outside of society, even in the way he treated women and made them part of his.
Look what happened to him.
Okay, end of my serious conversation then. But I mean,
no. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No. But I mean, Christ, the way women weren't part of society. Yeah, way outside. Way outside.
And they killed him for it.
Well, not for that, but okay.
Well, didn't they really kill him for that? I just got through watching Ben-Hur. Okay.
Right.
I just got through watching Ben-Hur. Now, granted, this is Hollywood, but the point is still there. He was teaching something that the governing authorities did not want to be taught to the populations. He was teaching people that God is within, which we know is true. As Kundalini people, we know this is true. And that you can have a real-time conversation and relationship with the God within. And I think they literally killed him for that. What do you think?
Absolutely, that was part of it. Of course it was. They didn't understand, and he was going against all the norms of the day, all of the societal norms of the day.
And he'd have he would have all kinds of shit about him on the internet right now. Let me tell you.
Totally.
He was here.
He would.
He would. He would be called a cult leader. Think about that.
You have a question. You have a question from Michelle.
I'm looking here. Let me go over here, Michelle. Can we talk about Good Friday and what it means to Kundalini people? Go ahead, Santara.
Oh, Chrism, she's asking you.
What does Good Friday mean?
Nice pass there, but no, thank you.
What does Good Friday mean? Is that when he was executed, and then, or is that when he was risen from the tomb? Yeah.
Come on, Good Friday is the date where he was crucified.
So how is that good?
I know, yeah. I'm not getting into all of that.
Right. Okay. So first of all, to me, I'm just going to say that's not good. Okay, so that's one level of societal programming right there, calling the torture killing of a minister or a rabbi good. That is not good. That is not how that man should have been treated at all. So I'm going to call it Bad Friday. Okay, because that was not a good thing. That was a thing that should not have occurred. And I know, Jesus, the current philosophy say, he shed his blood for all our sins, and I'm not buying that one either, because we are all personally responsible for our sins. Christ is not. Christ is not responsible for his sins. So we don't need to drink his blood or eat his flesh, because that's just a little too close to cannibalism for me. But that's just me. Good Friday, and then you wait 3 days. I think it's 3 days, and then he emerges from the cave, and he is transported into the natural divine state. Now, what you can see from that, Michelle, is you can see that it's the ego of Christ that was crucified. It was the societal representation of Christ that was crucified. And I'm reading Michelle. She says, does it affect Kundalini people at all? It will if you're a Christian. But you can also see there is Kundalini in it, in the story of it. Okay, so and I'm going to tell you where I'm being given to see that it is within that. So Christ on the cross is equal to the sins of the ego being released from the individual through hardship. Okay, and so through severe hardship, being strung up on a cross and having nails pounded in and thorns and being jabbed by a spear and going through tremendous amounts of pain allows the ego to be cleansed. I mean, this is the harsh reality of that Christian symbolism. And so the ego is finally in a way killed. The ego is killed, and they take the body and they treat it very sacredly, and they put the body into a cave, and the women, there's like, I think there are 3 women that cover the body and take care of the body in a very sacred way, and this would be the sacred feminine, and the coverings that they put over the body of Christ would be like the cocoon of a butterfly. And then when the time has been reached for that person to be ascended, well, the bandages are removed, and the person emerges from the cave, which is also a representation of a cocoon, and emerges into the light of day, where, just like the butterfly, he begins to ascend into the heavens. And the people observe this, and they see this, and they go, "Oh my gosh, this is the enlightened Christ. This is the affirmation of God, and what He is teaching us is to defy our fears, and to defy our greed, and to defy these manifestations of the ego to the point where the ascendant factor can begin to take over the equation of the individual. And that individual will indeed become enlightened by virtue of the care and the nurturing of the sacred feminine, as exemplified by the 3 women inside the cocoon, creating that environment for the person to become enlightened and to be ascended within that enlightenment. And so this is the way that you can see this Bible, this understanding that is being given through the King James Version, by the way, of Kundalini. The King James Version has multiple paths of Kundalini awakening within it. Just as the Torah of Judaism, and just as the teachings of Allah and the Quran, and the 8 limbs of Buddhism, and the teachings of Zoroastrianism, the teachings of the ancient Greeks. You look at Hercules, you look at any of the Greek gods, you look at Zeus, you look at Venus, and you look at the Greek gods, which are just basic re-representations of the Babylonian gods, which are just basic re-representations of the Sumerian gods, and so on and so forth. These exist as archetypes within our humanity, within how we deal with life and how we're dealing with life. And you come into the Kundalini, all of that changes. You must change out of that tapestry of the ego that is binding you. Good Friday and the story behind Good Friday is a perfect example of the ego being tortured out of a person and being killed in a way, which is what, a lot of the cultures say, kill the ego. Taking it out of its control seat. Let's just put it that way. Taking the ego out of the control seat through torture, through the sublimation of the flesh, and being brought into a cave, which is the earth, which is underground, which is sacred feminine, Shakti, and being cared to and transformed by the Shakti by virtue of the three women that are covering the body and administering to the body, and then having the awakening occur. And the awakening bursts forth, shoves that big old stone aside, which only, 6 men could do, and the person literally illuminated with it ascends in front of other people. And if you look at St. Teresa of Avila, that's exactly what she was doing every day. Nuns had to hold her to the pew or she would float away, literally. And that's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. Documented. Maybe not scientifically because we weren't there. But my Kundalini says it is an actual fact and it actually occurred. And I really hope that helped with your question there, Michelle Rainter. Nice to hear you. Nice to see you and hear you in the way that I can. Yes.
I just want to add as well, actually, that one of the things about Christ as well as what you've said, he went into that death quietly because of the will of his Father. The burden that was placed on him. He didn't do it, like he surrendered. So while all of that was happening to him, he surrendered to it happening as well, which I think is huge.
And he also forgave. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And so there's another key Kundalini instruction is to be forgiving. And what part of Father, why hast thou, his 4 days in hell?
Yeah, Father, why have you forsaken me? I think, when was that? That was when he was in the desert. Yeah. That was on the way.
Well, he's in the desert. He's in hell. And he burst open the gates of hell and he entered hell. And this is another example of fearlessness. Breaking through the hell of the ego creation. And the actual hell that has existed, time immemorial, the actual hell where everything bad that is conceived or created by humanity exists, and that it's really there to teach you about what it is to transcend or to ascend as the Christ did and was doing. But it's also a teaching about visiting hell and not being swayed by it, not being programmed by it, not buying into it at all. What Christ did in 3 or 4 days took me 2 years. So you can see that you just want to stay away from Chrism. He's a slow learner. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the pathways of understanding the Kundalini through the Christian Bible, and there are pathways with the Bhagavad Gita and with the Quran and with the Torah and with all of the sacred books. There are pathways that have been placed there by the Kundalini itself, divine feminine and divine masculine, in order to teach specific populations about what they need to do to become an ascended human being. And to tie this all together, these instructions go against the societal norm. They go against what is appropriate. They step over the taboos. And so will you need to do this, my friends. So will you need to step over the taboos and accept where the Kundalini is giving you. Just like Atlanta Seeker said, The Kundalini commands people who are meant to be your student to follow you. Could the slander about you on the internet nonetheless override that and prevent that? And yes, but I kind of see it, Atlanta Seeker, I see it as a sieve. I see it as a sieve. Those who are ready to have these teachings that come through me, they will get stuck in the little fine mesh net. Those who are not quite ready, or those who are giving into their ego, won't make it. It's not time for them to be released from the cocoon. And sometimes just having that contact in a limited fashion allows enough change for them to work on through their life, and to say they weren't really meant to be your student. Maybe they were just meant to be that for a small, short time. Just enough to have the seed planted. Okay, and I am going to come over to our beloved phone callers now, and here we are. And I believe this would be Andrea. Andrea, hello. Thank you for calling in.
Hi.
How may I help you, my dear? Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Good. I don't really have a question, but I want to tell you a little story about what happened to me with my sensuality.
I understand putting a horn through your forehead, and I just want you to know that it's okay to be a human unicorn. It is absolutely okay. Don't resist it.
Okay, I'm not resisting it. Chrism, when I PMS, my Kundalini goes nuts, and as soon as that's over, I'm back to being good.
Well, you're not bad by PMSing either, though.
Pardon me?
I said you're not bad because you're having PMS.
No, I don't think that. It's just that my hormones go crazy, right? And
right.
My hormones go crazy, and then my Kundalini go crazy, and then as soon as that's over, I'm fine, I'm good. But I go through that once a month. So,
yeah, as do most women. So yeah. But now you were talking about a different subject. Let's hear it.
Right. So when I was coming into the Kundalini, I felt I was in touch with my sensuality, right? And it was like an innocent, pure thing. So I took a picture it showed cleavage and some of my legs. And what happened was I posted that picture on Facebook. But it was innocent, like really innocent. And I remember people would message me and tell me horrible things about that picture. And I felt so bad. I deleted that picture from Facebook. What do you think about that?
Put it back on.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But I felt I felt bad like for a long time because, I was cut up. I was criticized.
Well, that's okay. No offense, but you are not to look at within a divine context. You are not the created opinion of those around you. You are the creation of the divine of yourself within you. And to allow yourself, your ego, to be swayed and programmed by how people other than you are perceiving you is to lie about the divine heritage that you're beginning to express. Can't hear you. Are you on the microphone anymore?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What about now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So, yeah, I was just getting in touch with my sensuality, and I felt good. I felt it was an innocent thing, and, you know, like I was cut up by many people.
They judged you. They judged you. Don't buy into their judgment.
Okay.
You buy into the Shakti
like that.
that is expressing through you. Yeah. All right, my dear. That is what I'm going to suggest to you, but because I'm such a motor mouth today, I'm going to have to put you into the blue and come to the next question, my dear. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. And that was our dear Indra, and I suggest all of you not to be swayed by the negative commentary of the people who judge you, just like me. Okay, I've got people that complain about me up one side and down the other, and it doesn't sway me one bit. It doesn't change my teachings. It doesn't change what I'm here to do. And I suggest that you not allow others that are not experienced with the Kundalini, and even if they are, to not program you away from the natural inclinations of grace that the divine has begun to give to you. It's a good lesson from Indra. Thank you, Indra. And coming down into our next question. Hello, Ishmael. Thank you for calling.
Hey, Master
How
Chris.
are you today? Hi.
Oh, I'm truly thankful. How you doing, Master Chrism?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I apologize for my delay as far as getting with you. Been having a lot of problems with my phone charging, and just doesn't matter what outlet I use. It's just very, very slow, and just having a hard time charging it. As well as my daughter's phone on top of that.
Yeah, you might have to get another phone because I know the Kundalini can kill phones.
Yeah, I think it's kind of doing this work on my phone as well as my daughter. My daughter lives with me too, and she's having a lot of problems with her charger as well.
Yeah, well, there you have it. There you have it.
Yeah. I have just a question. I was wondering if you could give me some understanding. I've been seeing a lot of sixes, double sixes, like everywhere, mostly on my battery percentage.
That's
like
okay.
A lot of times, like
I'll give you the Kundalini understanding of six is information. It's collecting and collating information, which is exactly what you're doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cause I'm not seeing triple sixes, but I'm just seeing double sixes all the time and everywhere. You know,
triple six. Don't worry about the triple six. The triple six does not mean what people want it to mean, unless except for what they want it. You know, I mean, I had a telephone prefix for years and years and years that went 666. So I dialed 666 every time I wanted to call that phone. And so did other people. And it's just not a deal. It is a no thing. It is an artificial fear given to people for no other reason than to give them an artificial fear and to have them be afraid of the number 13 or 666. You know, there's a mark of the beast. Well, I actually like the beast, and so does the Shakti like the beast. And, you know, the beasts are really tied into Shakti far more than people are. So I got no problem with 666.
Yeah.
I look at Inara peacefully sleeping over there. If she chose in this moment to rip me to shreds, she could rip me to shreds, absolutely, without a doubt. She is a huge dog, beautiful dog, wonderful, loving dog. But, you know, if she changed her mind about me, I would be fricasseed Chrism. Okay? She is a beast. She is a beast, and I love her dearly. So if 666 is the mark of Inara, which in Arabic means light, then I fully accept her light in my life, and I'm very grateful for it. Just a different perspective, huh?
Definitely. so that's what I should understand about the numbers that I'm seeing. It's pretty much just I should be gathering more information, or just
you're gathering information and you're collating it and you're applying it to your life and to your Kundalini. She's letting you know that this is what you're doing and probably what she wants you to be doing right now.
Right. Yeah.
Apply it.
So,
apply what you teach. Apply what she's teaching you. Apply what the information is giving you. Don't just store it away in your mind. Apply it to your life.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, my friend. I'll put you in the blue here so you can listen to the rest of the program. And moving on to Mr. Mohan. And in the mall, we'll call him Mohan the Mall Man.
You got me, Master.
Mohan the Mall Man, how are you?
I'm good, Master. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Now, could you please make a very important announcement, sir?
Yes. I would like to invite everybody who's on the call and who's in the chat room to try to make it to the Denver seminar, which is going to happen on April 28th and 29th. And people who are still in the process of deciding, I would request them to decide it quickly because it's almost like 4 weeks away now. And I would request them to make the call as soon as possible.
Yes, and what is the call? What is the call number to make?
They can call my number 720-934-1751 or
720-934 1751. 51. Okay. So
yes,
there you
and
have
there
it, ladies and gentlemen.
information on the Facebook events page, like Kundalini Events and Seminars with Chrism. There's more information over there to book a hotel room or other details.
The Mile High City, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to meet you in Denver, Colorado. I would love to meet. We've got a nice situation there, and just as I said earlier about the different levels of Kundalini contact, why it would be beneficial to have the touch as differentiated from just hearing it, as I mentioned earlier in the program. This is an opportunity for a multifaceted, upfront, personal, physical contact with a Kundalini teacher, and I really want you to take advantage of that. Take strong advantage of it, ladies and gentlemen. Call Mohan. Mohan's number is 720-934-1751. And he will meet you in the mall. Just kidding. His phone number again is 720. Yeah.
Go ahead.
720-934-1751, my friends. I'd love to meet you in the Mile High City of Denver. And also, Rosemary will be coming, and Joey will be coming, and Katie will be coming. There's a lot of Kundalini people coming. So come on and make some new Kundalini friends. Indra, see if you can be there. Ishmael, see if you can be there. We're kid friendly. We're pet friendly. So bring your dog, bring your cat, bring your kid. All right. Did you have any other questions, Mohan?
Yes, Master.
Yeah.
I have two questions actually. So one question is like, should any of the disciples be judgmental about what the teacher does in his bedroom or his bathroom? Should they be concerned about it?
Never.
Yeah.
Never. Never.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I don't care. I care about only the knowledge that comes from the teacher. I don't care what he does personally in his bedroom or bathroom or with somebody else who's willing to do some things with him. I don't care about that as long as the teacher provides the right knowledge for me. I mean knowledge. There is no right knowledge. Knowledge.
Well, it just sounds to me like you're saying you're just not going to go into judgment.
No.
You're not going to go into judgment about a situation that you don't really know about, and you don't know all the factors about it. And it's true. From the ancient standpoint, you don't judge what the teacher does because you don't know. You don't know enough about the situation. You don't know what the Kundalini would be compelling the teacher to do or why. You don't know what the karma of the individual is that he's working with. You don't know enough information to give a judgment about it. You just don't. And until you do, you can't.
Even if I know enough information, who am I to judge? It's not me who's doing. Yeah.
Exactly. Seriously, folks, the information is it's hard to come by. It's hard to come by, and as Mohan is suggesting here, you've got to be willing to lay aside your judgment. Let me tell you something. If I'm doing something wrong, my Kundalini will totally let me know about it. Totally.
And
I will
letting
make the corrections
anybody
that
know
she wants me to make.
What I feel is, if you do something wrong, your Kundalini will destroy you.
Yes, absolutely. So there you have it, folks. I mean, this is a truth. This is a truth. So that doesn't mean that if you do something wrong that the Kundalini will destroy you. She will correct you. She will correct you. And you don't need to be worried about making mistakes. Very compassionate force of grace. And yet, you know, if there's a teacher out there that is really, really, really doing the wrong thing, you know, she can kill you very easily. She can make you stop very easily. Seriously, easily.
If that means, if making you stop means killing you, she will kill you.
She will kill you.
Yeah.
She will stop your heart. It's not like she's going to tear your head off or anything, although she could. She'll just stop your heart. Boom. Done.
Yep. And my
I like
second question.
Your attitudes are the best attitudes, Mohan. That's the exemplary path of people who need to learn from the Kundalini. It's just like you are not in a position to judge anyone.
Right. And it happened to me, actually. There was a teacher in India who got caught in a scandal, and everybody I know, if I take up the topic of that master, they will say, oh, that guy, there was a scandal about him, right? That's the first thing people mention. I was like, okay, so what? There are a lot of other things, other good things about the teacher who gives you, apart from the scandal he got caught up into. And we are not even sure if the scandal is true or not.
Absolutely.
Who are you to make judgment?
Exactly. You're right on target. And that goes with Yogananda. Yogananda's works and Osho's works, and Muktananda's work far outshine what may have been misconstrued or misunderstood by people, suggesting that they were, improperly involved with students. Their good works far outshine any kind of a judgment or negative judgment made upon those gifted souls. Okay, and I agree completely with Mohan here. Absolutely. Thank you, Mohan. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
And
Master.
once again,
And my second question. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to give your phone number. Mohan's phone number is 720-934-1751 if you want to meet him in person in the mile-high city of Denver. Beautiful, beautiful place, surrounded by the Rocky Mountains. Go ahead. The second question.
Yeah, my second question is, there is a lot of importance surrounded with the touch of the teacher in the Hindu culture. Like they say, the touch of the teacher is very important in the process of your awakening. Can you please elaborate on that? How does that work and how important it is?
The touch? The touch?
Yeah, the touch of the teacher.
Oh, okay, yeah, no. In other scenarios, it's called the divine touch. The areas of the body that I'm given to touch is right below the occipital on the skull, right behind the top of the neck, where the neck joins into the skull. That's a very, very profound area for a Kundalini teacher to touch. Typically, I use the chakra at the tip of the index finger, and I'll put and it's the right index finger, and I'll put the left index finger into the Gyan Mudra, and then I'll feel this flow of energy entering into the upper fifth and lower sixth chakra of the individual, right at the hammer, right in the hammer zone. And healings have been given this way. I also touch various areas on the spine, the full length of the spinal cord. If this is what the Kundalini is called for. But this divine touch is really, really powerful. It is a powerful form of reception by the student, by the person wanting it. Sometimes I'll go in a circular motion on the third eye. Sometimes I will just touch their hands, hold hands with them, and the energetic transfer will occur right there. Sometimes I'll cross my hands, and the energetic transfer will go there as my arms are crossed and I'm holding the hands of the individual. Sometimes I'm given to touch their feet. Sometimes they're given to touch my feet. Sometimes they're given to do, for them to touch, for them to reach out and to touch. Early on in my teachings of others, I was given to actually have them, with their breath, lay their hands on my flesh and to pull my energy into them through their breathing. And, that's another very, very powerful manifestation of pulling the grace of the teacher into your body and to harvesting that grace that Kundalini gives in such copious amounts. It's very important to be able to do that, and the seminars are a perfect opportunity for that to occur. Perfect opportunity. And so I suggest people partake of it. It is powerful, and if your life is being controlled and centered around Kundalini, then this is something that you'll want to do. Thank you, my friend Mohan. Thank you,
Master. Thank you, Master. And one more question.
Yes.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel lots of energy coming out of my hand and my fingers, and when I'm with my son, who's 8 years old, I am scared to touch him on his forehead with my fingers.
No, never be afraid of that. You got to remember, he's your son, and he needs you to touch him. And you don't be afraid of having the Shakti come into him, because I'll tell you what, the Shakti's already in him. You can't make it worse. She is in charge of his activation and awakening of his Kundalini. And you cannot be afraid to touch him. Matter of fact, I want you to go out of the way and touch him in a loving fashion all the time, in a grateful fashion all the time. Gratitude to Shakti, gratitude to your son for being your son, for making the choice to be the son of an enlightened person in development. No, you touch him on the forehead, you touch him on his chest, on his back, on his feet, on his fingers, on his hands, and you let that light pour into him. And the same thing with the new baby coming through. She will also need your touch. And so you give that to her in a copious way.
Right.
Okay?
When my wife is not feeling well since last few weeks, and she was having lots of heat inside her body, so I was trying to send her healing by touching her head and sending the blue light to her. But sometimes I feel scared. Like, can I do that with the baby in the body? Is that heat required for the baby? Am I interfering in the process, or?
Half of that baby is you. Half of that baby is you, and that baby's half of that you are, just like the 8-year-old son, is having Kundalini even as we speak.
Right. I was worried if I was interfering in the natural process. Like, is the heat required for my wife at this point of time to have it, or?
Yes, it is. And she will actually be going through an activation when she gives birth to this child.
Okay.
She's already started. She's already starting with it. So Kundalini is the most natural level of development that the human being can have. So you touch her, you touch the baby, you touch your son, and have no fear whatsoever. Trust your Kundalini.
Okay. Thank you, Master. That's it.
Thank you, Mohan. Into the blue and coming back to Her Holiness. Here she is, the Celtic queen of unquestioning Kundalini expression. Her Holiness Santara Kundalini. Welcome back. I had to think fast on that.
You did indeed. Well, I'm going to mention the Germany seminar now. And that's happening in May. It's happening May 26th and 27th, a month after Mohan's one. So if you want more information on that, you can also go to the page Mohan mentioned on Facebook, and that is Kundalini Seminars and Events with Chrism, and you'll find information on the German seminar too. So that's it really, 26 and 27, and you'll get in touch with the person who's organising that.
And Manisha Manish is the coordinator for that, and you can find her on Facebook if you're on Facebook at Manisha or Manisha is. Doesn't she do a double name? Is she like Manisha Manish? Is that what she's doing?
Yep, that's what she's doing. But you'll find it anyway on the seminar page.
Okay, yeah, right. So you can find her on the Kundalini events and seminars with Chrism. So please, everybody in Europe, take a moment and receive that touch that Mohan was talking about. Receive it into your body, into your skin, into the hair follicles, into the cardiovascular, the neural system, the muscular system, the skeletal system. It'll go right through all of them. Receive it. And let it receive you. Move your body to where you can receive that touch. Move it and accept it. And become one with it. Ladies and gentlemen. Santara, do you have questions that you have collected?
Chrism, indeed, yes. I have a few that came into my inbox, so as usual, I will start with those. The first one is, can a person do meditation on the bed where he sleeps and does other activities?
Again?
Can a person do meditation on the bed where he sleeps and does other activities?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Matter of fact, a supine or laying down meditation is often called for, like when you're chakra breathing. You know, it's better to do the chakra breathing when you're laying down on your back and both hands are in Gyan Mudra and your eyes are looking up. It's a great position to do chakra breathing, which is a form of meditation. And it's I spent a lot of time on my back with my hands in that position and my eyes up, just doing a meditation. It's a great opportunity to learn the eyes up position too, because you don't have the gravity that is pulling your eyelids down or pulling your muscles. You know, even when you're sitting you're in a seated position, gravity pull has its effect on you. When you're in a lying down position, like on your bed, and your feet are slightly parted, maybe shoulders length, and your hands are shoulders length out from you, and they're in the Gyan Mudra, which is the forefinger tip and the thumb tip together with the other three fingers spread out, spread open, not touching. And then your tongue is up, and then your eyes are up, and you're breathing through your nose. I mean, that is a perfect position for meditation. And then, of course, you can go into the other forms of meditation throughout your day, where you're sitting on the edge of a chair with the feet on the ground, with the spine straight and the eyes up and the chin slightly down, and the fingers resting on your lap in the Gyan Mudra again. Or you can sit in easy pose, or you can sit in full lotus, and you can have these meditational experiences as well. It's okay to be lying down. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. Thank you. Why nude lady actress appear in dream, although I despise them?
Why do lady actresses that I guess this person is familiar with? Huh?
Nude lady actress.
It's to get this person okay with the naked body, to get this person out of their level of judgmentalism about the naked body, to move this person further into the acceptance of grace as exhibited by the naked body, to accept sacred femininity as exhibited by the naked body. This is very important for people to begin to get comfortable with. This is what I was talking about earlier, and which is, of course, made me into some sort of perverted teacher, because sometimes I will insist on that. I would insist on them.
Why would it be? Oh, sorry, pardon me.
Well, that's okay, but this is why would this what? Say again.
I was going to ask, why would the nude lady, the naked lady, be somebody whom he doesn't like? That he has an issue with in the first place. Isn't that an interesting?
Because he's making a judgment about the nudity.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting anyway. Over.
Okay. Thank you. What does appearance of expired parents or relatives in the dream indicate?
Depends on what, if they're saying anything to you, but if they're just appearing, it's a level of information for you that you do not end with death. You do not end with death. You move right in to the more familiar spiritual state, and you retrieve your memories from that spiritual state, and so you have a double set of memories. You have the memories of who you were, before you passed. All the strivings and struggles and beauty and joy and love that you experienced as being Centaura Kundalini in this life. And then when Centaura passes, she goes straight into the spiritual life, and she has a whole set of other memories of who she is truthfully, how, and why she chose this, and what karma was balanced, and all of these things. And so it's a message to the individual that life does not end. Consciousness does not end. with the ending of the physical container. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. Should a person in a Kundalini path fight for his right? The day before yesterday, I purchased 2 brinjalas. The vendor told me that if you find them spoiled, he would pay back the money. Unfortunately, there were worms in them. I went to him and asked for money. He refused. So I quarreled with him. Should I follow non-violence in such situations?
Yes. Just don't buy fruit from that person anymore. Do you have anything to add, Santara?
No, Chrism, I don't. I mean, I suppose verbals can be violent. I mean, should he have argued it all with him?
I don't. I certainly wouldn't get violent over fruit.
No, absolutely.
There's that. If the person was attacking you, then you have every right to defend yourself and to defend your body. You know, Shakti has teeth. Shakti has venom. Shakti has claws. If you mess with Shakti in a way that disturbs her ability to do what she wants to do on this planet with you, you have every right to fight back and there's no such thing as a fair fight when it comes to Shakti. She will bite your eyes out if she wants to. But typically what the Shakti does, she just changes the mind of the person attacking you. And if that doesn't seem to be the case, then it is a lesson for you to be forgiving, tolerant, and to just let it go.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we can say what we need to say, maybe, and then when the person says no, I'm not, you can just walk away and exactly be forgiving and never buy there again. Though I agree with that too.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We are in agreement.
So,
high five.
High five. So the next question. It's about periods, the menstrual cycle. I got a message from a lady who was having a normal or a longer than normal period. It was going on for 10 days and lasted for 12 days in all, actually. And I know some women can have, more than one period in a month. But at what point, say, in that example, would a person need or should they not have something done about it? Should they go to the doctor, or should they just stay there with what's happening? Chrism?
I forget. Do they have Kundalini? Does this person have Kundalini?
Yes, this person has Kundalini. Absolutely, 100%.
Well, then you totally trust the Kundalini.
Okay.
The Kundalini is in charge of the endocrine system, which will also place the Kundalini in charge of the menstrual cycles. And many times the Kundalini will give a person a double menstruation or even a triple menstruation and then no menstruation at all. That is a sign of the transformation caused by the Kundalini infused God. Sometimes I get a download and I lose track. That is a sign of an infused endocrine system. So nothing medically wrong with them. Even though they may think so. And the doctor will, scratch his beard and go, well, here. Punches it in on his computer. It's just like, But it's the Kundalini.
Yeah. Okay, Chrism, thank you. And
yes,
the
ma'am.
final question is,
thank you, ma'am.
what are the questions from the inbox? What are the electric shocks that Chrism asked about on the group?
The electric shocks are points of infusion. You might see it, this is the vision she's giving me right now. Envision a bed of nails. And you're lying on this bed of nails. And you don't feel any pain at all. But very specific levels of electric, like it's not electricity, but it'll feel like it, run through patterns in the nails. So the Shakti will create a pattern of electrical shocks to be given to a person at a specific time in a specific way all the time, or part of the time, or just, days in the weeks or not. And as the person is on that bed of nails, they are once again, they are not feeling the pain, but they are totally surrendered to the Kundalini in its application of specific levels of bioplasmic energy that appear as shocks into the person. It is a form of infusion. It's a teaching of tolerance. It's a teaching of surrender. It's a reception of gifting, all at the same time. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. So I'm
Thank you,
going on now to questions from the groups. Okay. I'm just trying to decide on which one. Okay. So I have childhood memories and victim feelings. How do I deal with this? My lower chakras are blocked and I have very fast imaginative mind. I am suffering negativity about myself. Please help.
First thing you have to do is forgive. You have to forgive what it is that you're fearing, and if it's not a person or a creature, then forgive yourself for manifesting that fear. The other thing is if you've been partaking of alcohol or marijuana or substances that open up entity attachment to you, the entities themselves can be pushing fearful thoughts into you. And you want to look at that. If you've been partaking in these areas, then you want to realize that you may not own these fears. These fears may be something that are being pushed at you, and that you are only owning them by virtue of the fact that you don't realize that you don't own them. You don't realize that there's an entity sitting on your shoulder going, you really need to be afraid of marshmallows. You can suffocate if the marshmallow's big enough. So you need to really be afraid of marshmallows. And if you eat them, then you're going to turn into a marshmallow. Oh, hey, look, there's a marshmallow over there. Go ahead, eat it. You see, that type of a thing, that insinuation of fear, that programming of fear about marshmallows. And it's not just about marshmallows. It can be about anything. It can be about that person with blue eyes, or that monkey eating a banana, or that, you know what I mean? It can be anything. So there's that. Now, if you're manifesting fears all on your own, say you're not partaking of alcohol or recreational drugs, types of things that open one up to entities, you can be fabricating it all by yourself. And so you need to forgive yourself for the fabrication of fears that do not serve you. And as you forgive these areas, as you forgive yourself, as you forgive other people in your life, you begin to clear up the lower chakras. Forgiveness is a key and a clearance and a detoxification all at the same time. Often you'll detox from that chakra specifically, or you'll detox from the fifth chakra for all of the chakras under it. Some people have that pattern. So the fifth chakra becomes the drain of the toilet or the shower or whatever. The impurities will leave through the fifth chakra sometimes for people. Okay. Other ways, you detox from the soles of your feet, or from the coccyx, or from the area right near the anus. You'll create a cord, or a cord will be created for you, and it will go into the earth, and you'll feel all the negativities, all the fears, all the issues, all the competitions, all the low self-worth, empty out through that cord near the anus into the earth. And the earth, of course, is the Shakti, and she knows what to do with those energies. So forgive. This person needs to forgive constantly and copiously. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. Can I just expand or ask further on that?
Yes,
I mean, forgiveness. So this person is speaking as well about childhood memories and feeling like a victim. In that case, does a person really ever need to do work specifically on those memories, or is forgiveness enough, if you know what I mean? Do they have to go back?
You got to go back, and you got to look at it honestly, realize that it was karma trauma for you. This is karma trauma. Children do not have choices. And when something of that nature, like child molestation or physical abuse to a child, things of that nature, emotional abuse, this is karma trauma. And that karma trauma will need to be faced and forgiven. And in many cases, you need to take the next step and to be thankful for it, because it has made you the Kundalini activated or awakened person that you are today. Over.
Okay, thank you, Chrism. Next question. Is it okay to attend shamanic healing workshops when one's Kundalini is active, or a shamanic meditation circle?
You've got to know whether or not the shamans can handle what comes up. It can be a smorgasbord for entities. A lot of shamans come with a lot of entities attached to them. They use them. They use them in their, they call them allies or helpers. But not all of them are very helpful. You've got to be very clear in the abilities of the shaman, and that shaman is not trying to imprison you or to manipulate you or to own you in a certain way. You've got to have the trust in the shaman. Okay, and you've got to follow your Shakti too. The Shakti's saying, well, why don't you go to the shaman and have an ayahuasca experience or have a shamanistic experience of some sort? If your Shakti is telling you to do that, you know that it is your Shakti telling you to do that. That's a key. If you know that is your Shakti telling you to do that, then you can go. But for the most part, I would say stay away from shamans. Most shamans do not have the power that they profess to have. Most shamans do not know how to get rid of an entity contact that a person may receive by virtue of being in their presence or removing the auric protections that are in place against direct entity contact. They don't know what they say they know. And if you're paying them money, well, then they don't, they may have other reasons for doing it. Be sure. Now, if you have the Kundalini, my question to you is, why are you searching for a shamanistic experience in the first place? You have the Kundalini. Now, it's not saying that ayahuasca cannot be a helpful thing. Of course it can be. It can be an exceptionally helpful thing. But is that what they're doing? Or is it some sort of a, soul retrieval or some sort of a ceremony that about, the ayahuasca, but it's about other substances. Maybe it's about experimenting with Jimson weed, which allows people to totally take control of you. Totally take control of you, meaning that you will kill yourself happily if that person tells you to do it. Okay, that's what Jimson weed or what's it called? The angel's trumpets are that way as well. Okay, it can be a mind wipe, meaning that you wipe out your areas of communication, your areas of resistance. You will do anything that you're told to do. Jumping off a cliff, you will do it. So you need to really do some research on the shaman. Google him or her. And if you see any kind of a discrepancy in how a person may have received that shamanistic experience through that shaman, discern it. The angel's trumpets are also called brugmansia. Brugmansia. And it's a South American shaman plant that the shamans will use for specific things. Sometimes the shamans will slip brugmansia into the ayahuasca recipe in order to, what they say, add more light to it. It's a light-bearing plant, that's for sure, but for ayahuasca, just ayahuasca and chacruna, that's all you need. You don't need to be controlled or hyped with brugmansia.
Yeah.
So really, really look.
Say datura.
Datura and brugmansia are the same thing.
Oh, are they? Okay, just another name then.
Right.
Okay.
Brugmansia, datura, Jimson, they all come from a very, very similar plant, the same genus.
Okay.
And so they all will have that effect. If you take the seeds and you do some things with the seeds, or you put the seeds into the as an admixture into the ayahuasca tea, or you just, you pound some of the leaves into the admixture of the ayahuasca tea, it adds a completely different component, which makes it a completely different substance. So don't do that. So once again, you need to really research the shaman. And any last words, Amelia?
Yeah, well, I was going to read out a poem called "We Are the Resurrection," seeing as we're going into Easter. But I don't know if I have time now. Do I, Chrism? We're nearly there,
no,
are we?
You don't.
I don't. Well, okay then. Well, I will post "We Are the Resurrection" on the group. I post it every Easter, and so I just want to say, yeah, it's a good poem. So I will see you all hopefully next week, same time, same bat channel. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, we are the resurrection, and look for that poem on Kundalini Awakening ! I hope. And I will go ahead and end this like I tried to start this, and here we go. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and join in with me if you wish.